You didn't know nothing was growing until you saw what? Till you saw the crop come up, until you saw some weeds too, right? That's how you knew some stuff was growing, right? So if you ain't got no haters or people talking about you, you must not be doing too much growing. You must not be going to too many places. If you ain't got people that have some stuff to say about you. So now let's go back. Let's go back real quick, because it said when the crop started to grow and it started to sprout up. So understand, this wasn't something that just happened overnight. This was something he planted a long time ago. And I feel like the enemy looked over there and said, what they got growing over there?
Come on, work it.
Oh, no. That's going to be too much value to the kingdom. Preach. That's going to be too valuable. And if I don't get to it before it sprouts up, it's going to be too late. So I need to go plant something over there right now. Now understand, let's look how cowardly the enemy is, because it said, while men slept. Oh, ain't nobody talking to me. While men slept, he came and put. Now, when I used to read this text the first couple of times, I got mad at them. I said, why they sleeping? You got one job. What you sleeping for? It's like kickers today in the NFL, just missing kicks left and right. All you do is kick. What you missing kicks for? All you got to do is watch the field. Why are you asleep? Right? And then I had to come back and say, well, they're human. They're human. And they needed rest. But instead of getting mad at the guards, I should be looking at how cowardly the enemy is, to where he didn't have the guts enough to come while people were awake. So he came while you were asleep. Have you ever been in a situation where you was just tired and a little bit low on your luck, a little bit low on your encouragement and your enthusiasm, and then out of nowhere something smacked you upside your head that you didn't never see coming? Have you ever had a never thought moment? I never thought I'd lose my mother-in-law to cancer. I never thought my father would have a quadruple bypass heart surgery. I never thought my father would be in a wreck and I'd almost lose him. I never thought my marriage would be on the brinks. I never thought. Have you ever had a never thought moment to where you had to sit back and say, this ain't God? So you got to decipher these things, right? Because some of us is blaming some stuff on the devil that you did. See, I'm telling you, one of our favorite phrases is, the enemy is testing me right now. Devil ain't looked at you, ain't talked to you, ain't came by your house. He looking at you like, bro, I don't even know you. What are you talking about? But you steady blaming the devil. Lord, the devil done. Lord, the devil done. No, you done. You done. You got to understand that, because you're jeopardizing the integrity of your wheat when you don't recognize when you've done something wrong. Some of the stuff we go through is self-inflicted. Then there's some things that God allows to happen because of growth. And life just happens. And then there's some things where you just got to recognize, oh, this the devil. This ain't nothing but the devil, right? I know y'all done call some of y'all co-workers the devil. I know you have, because I done it too. But you got to know how to separate it, because you got to know how to attack it. Because when you realize that it's nobody but the devil, then you'll immediately realize that you got value. Because why would the enemy attack something that has no value? If I have, as a matter of fact, the greater the value, the greater the attack. Now, for some of us, that could be discouraging. But for me, I go to my Bible that says, never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor my seed beg for bread. The kingdom of heaven is like a man that sowed good seed So if God planted you on this earth and this good seed, and you are the wheat that's growing, and the enemy sees value in what the owner planted, and the enemy sees value in what God put inside of you, when the enemy attacks you, understand he can't touch your body. What he does is put impostures around you that make you forget how weakful you are, and then he can destroy the crop. Now understand, he said, no. Let them grow together. Don't touch them. Let them go together. And when they grow together, then we're going to wrap these things up. We're going to separate the two, and we're going to burn the wheat, and we're going to keep the harvest. See, a lot of times we get messed up because harvest time don't always look like harvest time. Wow. And when we talk about sowing and reaping, a lot of us, we love the reaping part. We don't really talk too much about the sowing part, though. Oh, I'm reaping what I sowed. You all kinds of happy for the reaping part. But what we fail to realize is reaping is hard work. Reaping is the hardest work. I got old school people in here. I know some people that worked on some farms. And when that crop get out and it's time to harvest it, oh, Lord, that's the dreadful time right there. Because you got to go get it. You got to clean it. You got to process it. You got to do everything for it to have value. Oh, my God. Some of us are just still standing there waiting to be harvested. You sitting there as weedy as you can be, but you ain't harvested nothing. You ain't picked yourself up. You ain't washed yourself off. You ain't put on the Holy Ghost armor of God. You ain't washed yourself from your sin. You ain't cleansed your heart of all that filthiness you got. You just sitting there as a harvest, but dirty as I don't know what. It takes work to be a harvest. So this is what this owner understood. He said, no. You're going to mess up the good part. And I feel like he was so advanced that he understood, oh, the Lord going to take care of this one. I ain't even got to fight this one. Because this ain't got nothing to do with me. He attacking me trying to get to God. He's attacking me trying to taint the integrity of God's seed. He's trying to use me to turn on God. Well, Pastor YP, where you get that from? Well, when God was meeting with his sons and the meeting of the sons ended, and he walked and he saw the devil. And the devil, he said, well, what have you been doing? He said, oh, nothing. Just, roaming the earth, seeking who I may devour. I'm in Job chapter 1 if you're not following me. And he said, no, I'm just seeking who I may devour. And then God offers a name. He said, well, have you considered my servant Job? And listen to the conversation. The enemy says, well, I have. But you have a hedge of protection around him. But if you remove that hedge of protection, he'll curse you to your face. And the Lord said, well, I'll tell you what. I'll remove the hedge, but you can't touch his body. And you can't touch his soul. And the devil looked at him and said, I believe the devil said, I guarantee you, if you remove that hedge off of him, he will turn on you and he will curse you to your face. And I feel like God said, well, let me show you. And then all kinds of stuff broke out in Job's life. And all kinds of craziness happened. He lost his kids. He lost his wife. He lost his value. He lost everything. But the one thing he never let go of was his integrity. I'm here to tell you today, I don't care if they take your car. I don't care if they take your house. I don't care if they take your friends. I don't care if they take your possessions. Don't you let nobody have your integrity. That's the only thing God gave you. And if you let somebody take your integrity, you're going to pull up your blessing while you're trying to pull up your misery. Now, you got to understand the power in this whole message is at the beginning of Job. Let's look at this conversation. He goes to the enemy, asks him what he's doing. The enemy tells him what he's doing. He offers a name, and the enemy said, I can't touch him. You got a hedge of protection over him. But if you remove it, I bet he'll curse you. So God said, okay, I'll remove it. What does that tell you? Before the enemy throw an attack at you, he had to go consult with God. Oh, somebody should tear the flow up right there on that. Before he unleashed hell in your life, he had to go get clearance, because if I'm not mistaken, it says, touch not my anointed, do my prophet no harm. Now, oh man, come on, who gonna catch it with me? Because I want you, what I just told you is, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. It didn't say it wouldn't form, it just said it wouldn't prosper. It didn't say it would get the shot off at you, it just said it wouldn't prosper. Some of y'all going through hell in your life right now, and you don't know where it's coming from. Some of you got imposters all around you. You got haters and witches and hexes and all kinds of craziness going on. And God sent me here to tell you, you're mine in the Genesis, you're mine in the Exodus, you're mine right now. I am the Alpha, I am the Omega. I made you my seed, and the integrity is still good. All I need you to do is you're going to be wheat no matter what. Come on. That's all right. Stop worrying about what's around you. Stop worrying about the people that are around. Stop worrying about the mess that's happening around you, because God has told the enemy he won't turn on me. I don't care how bad you make it. I guarantee she'll still tear the flow up if I call on her name. I don't care how bad it looks. He'll still shout glory in my name if I call his name. I don't care how much hell you send his way, he'll never turn his back on me. I don't care what you send her way, she'll never turn her back on me. So you find yourself stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now let me tell you why that makes sense now if you didn't know before. A hard place can be sheetrock. If you tap on sheetrock, it's pretty hard. But if you send a rock through that sheetrock gonna do what? It's gonna bust. So the enemy is sheetrock, your God is this rock. So even though you standing between a rock and a hard place, you got a rock that's stronger than the hard place. And as long as you stand on your rock, and as long as you be still and know that I am God, you can stand on your rock and you can look at that hard place and you can tell him you can't have my integrity. Somebody shout unto God in this place. Oh, come on, somebody give God a praise. If you were his in the beginning, you're his in the end. If you was his seed when it was cold, you're his seed when it's hot. If you were his seed before you sprouted, you're his seed when it's harvest time. The wheat can only be wheat, and all you gotta do is be wheat. Wheat ain't got nothing to do with the whole problem. The wheat ain't even the situation. It ain't even the problem. All right now. Amen. Everything that's unfolding in your life right now ain't got nothing to do with you. You've been sitting there thinking that the enemy attacking you for a personal reason. He ain't even thinking about you. He don't want your car. He don't want your house. He sure don't want your wife. You probably don't even want him. I'm joking. Unless it's for real, but don't look at me. Don't look. Ain't got nothing to do with that. You thinking that all of these attacks are because of you. Deacon, people got it messed up. They think this whole walk with God is about you. we have become so selfish-minded and so self-righteous that we think the persecution and the things that we go through are for us.
That's right. Come on.
What made you so high and mighty that makes you think the enemy cares about you individually? Come on now, it's common sense, right? If it wasn't for the God you serve, would he even really care about you? Because if you weren't a servant of God, he would already have you. So because you are who you are, he sees that he's a son of God, so he got value planted inside of him. But if I can reach in his heart and take out his value, I can gain the possession back. But I can't get to his heart because God ain't gave me permission to touch his anointing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play with his money. I'm going to play with his mind. I'm going to play with his people, his friends. I'm going to play with everything I can around him to get him to not think that he is still wheat. And if I can change his mind about his value, I can insult the integrity of God's seed. Ain't none of this about you. Stop being in a pity party thinking that God is taking you through nonsense. God ain't done nothing. He's trying to take you to victory. And if you hush your mouth and just be obedient, let me tell you why God don't tell you everything. Because you're going to mess around and you're going to mess up the fix in the fight. See, you get to complaining and murmuring and being all frustrated and going to God slobbering and crying all over the place. Lord, how I'm going to pay these bills, Jesus. I got bills. And God is looking at you saying, you're worried about bills when you should be praying to me about your destiny and where I'm taking you. I said I'll cover everything that you need. I want to give you the desires of your heart. And I know a bill being paid is not bigger than you becoming financially free. I know your bills being paid ain't more important than your babies knowing who Jesus is. I know your bills being paid ain't more important than the integrity of the seed I planted inside of you. You got to shift your thinking. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And as long as you lean back on that rock, that hard place don't matter. And see, when you lean back on that rock, and when you lean back on God, God is saying the battle is not yours. For it is the Lord's. See, what we fail to realize is sometimes we got power to unleash God on anything we need him to unleash. Some of y'all been not using your power. Some of y'all got God in the cage saying, please let me out. Please let me out. Give it to me. Give it to me. But you got to let me have it. I truly believe God will say, as long as you're going to handle it, then you handle it. See, we got God messed up. We believe in this magical being that just shows up when we rub on our stomach of prayer. Sometimes God is looking like, okay, well, as long as you're going to pick it up, then you bury it. When you're ready to give it to me, I'll be right here. And we just swinging away. Ain't hitting nothing. Look like them YouTube fights when somebody get whooped and they done swung 100 times and ain't connected one time. That's what you look like fighting the enemy when you won't give the fight to God. You just swinging away, swinging away. And when you get done, you... Boy, I sure did. I bet he won't mess with me no more. Ain't hit nothing. And God is saying, all I want you to do is give it to me. Let me fight it. Because this ain't got nothing to do with you. This is between me and him. And he's using you to get to me. But if you understand that he had to come talk to me before I let them touch you, you'll already know that you got the victory before the battle even started. If somebody believed that, somebody give God a crazy praise right there. Oh, come on, if you are weak, the only person that shouldn't be praising right now is if you are tear. But if you are weak, somebody give God a shout of praise in this place. Somebody shout hallelujah. Somebody shout hallelujah. So I leave you with this. Sometimes it's just a matter of having a shift in your mind. Because sometimes we forget that no matter what we go through, we aren't what we think we are to God. God looks at you and says, I don't care about none of that stuff. Who did I say you were? Did I not say you were my son? Did I not say you were my daughter? I don't care what CJ and Garrison do for the rest of their life. There's one fact I can't change. I cannot change the fact that they are my sons. If they disappoint me, they still my son. If they make me mad, they still my son. If they hurt me with something they do, they're still my son. And there's nothing they could do that will make me turn my back on them. Amen. So what makes you think God will turn his back on you? I don't care how it looks. I don't care how ugly it is. You're still a son and daughter of God. Don't you let nobody take your integrity. Don't let nobody destroy your weediness. You are still wheat no matter what's been planted around you. And I'm going to leave you with this one thing right here. Stop letting people determine your value. Because people will place their fears on top of your life. And just because they devalue themselves, don't mean you got to devalue yourself. The next time somebody tries to devalue who you are, you look at them and tell them, well, I'm sorry, favor ain't fair. And if you ain't got the favor, that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you don't see yourself as great as I see myself, that sounds like a personal problem, because the only thing I can see is a fearfully and wonderfully made creature. And if you don't see that in yourself, I suggest you take that up with God, because that's between you and him. But as for me and my house, I will serve the Lord. Somebody give God another shout of praise in this place. Do me a favor and stretch those hands. God, you're great.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
And that's undeniable.
Yes, God.
God, you're so magnificent. You're so great that you can take a seed and plant it in our hearts, and it can grow to be something that we never imagined it to be. God, you are so good and so powerful that before all hell breaks